more fucking around. It's Wild Style Radio. Wild Style Radio.
Stand up and shout.
What is up?
Yeah.
It's Wednesday night, and welcome to the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show with Whisk and Kev, coming to you live from Salisbury Center Studios in Manassas, Virginia. What's up?
We have an exciting night tonight, man.
We do. Looking forward to it. Been looking forward to this evening.
We are, because you and I'll say selfishly, that you and I are moving into an amazing month of live music.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The month of May. I don't think we could cram any more shows into the month of May, which is great, but then what do we do after May? Because it doesn't seem like there's anything.
Right? I mean,
So.
feast and famine, right? I guess that's how
Absolutely.
it's like playing out.
It's raining and pouring.
Right. But today with us, we're kicking off that May event with the M3 Rock Festival, which, you know, Kevin, you and I have gone to for years and years.
Yep.
And then also with a band that we love dearly and some great friends, Spread Eagle. And so they should be on with us. There they are. They
There they
magically
are.
appeared.
Hello.
Hey guys,
What's up, guys?
how you doing? Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
So,
it.
and we are very excited. We're so excited that we are going to be there on Sunday, which is a hard thing for us early because you guys are earlier in the lineup. I know that times have not been announced and you're probably not in a place to divulge those yet, but I have to wake Kevin up to make sure that he's there for you guys on Sunday because we're not going to miss a note of it.
Awesome, man. It'd be like brunch
Right.
service.
Right.
Rock and
I
roll
know.
brunch. Why not?
Yeah, we'll get a little
I'll
brunch
throw
in and
out-
then
I'll
get our
throw out-
rock and
I'll
roll
throw out
on.
French toast. I'll throw out some French toast and scrambled eggs at everybody. Some
Yeah.
Moses.
Last time you started throwing eggs at everyone, scrambled eggs, right? I don't think it worked out as well as you hoped. I mean, we liked it, but I don't think they liked it.
Because people are picky about their eggs, man. Some like scramble, some like sunny side up. You can never, it's
Yeah.
As long as they're
it's a
not
losing
dippy.
game. It's a losing game.
Tell me like some pride.
Yeah.
Sausage.
We're going off the rails. We're going off the rails right away.
So we're excited because, you know,
Yeah.
like
Hell
Jeff
yeah.
said, we've been to M3 for, we try to go every year.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, a lot of it is kind of the same bands over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
But this year's lineup is a little bit more dynamic.
It
and we
is.
were super excited to see you guys as part of that bill. So,
Yeah.
you
They finally
know,
broke down and let New York in the house. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been trying for a few years because we got Jami about 3 years ago, and we've been hitting it real hard here and overseas since then. So we started reaching out about 3 years ago, and we're finally on it. So we're really excited.
Sure. So tell us about the year that we have not seen you guys in a year. A year ago, you were here at the Salisbury Center. I have been active on your social media and following you guys on social media. It seems like you've had a very busy year. How's that been going for you?
Jami,
It's-
what do you think?
Me? Yeah, we were very busy. We had a very long tour schedule and it's doing great.
We're putting in the work, man. We're grinding it out. It's what we do is no joke. It's planes, trains, and automobiles. So we get us wherever and anywhere they'll have us, we play. You know what I mean?
Sure. And Jami, you were married in the course of this past year. Like that slipped in between also.
Right.
That was just a big event for you. So congratulations with that.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Practically, I organized the wedding as last date of the tour.
Oh, wow.
So it all worked out well because we had the band and we played at the wedding.
Wow.
So it was very cool. The
It was
best
a-
ending of the tour that I
It
can
was-
imagine.
It was a small Italian wedding of 225 people. It was one of the craziest things
Yeah, it's
I've ever
relatively
experienced.
small for our standards in Italy or in Sardinia.
Yeah, I was,
Yeah, I think we were there like 12 days. We just
we stayed.
we just got into it. It was great, man. We just we retired from the tour and the gig we played Jami's wedding, which turned into like a rock concert with a mosh pit and everything. It was hilarious.
Awesome.
Right?
Awesome.
That was like the best gig of the whole thing.
It was pretty amazing. I mean,
I'm just joshing.
if you have not experienced an Italian wedding, I cannot explain it, but it is a wild thing.
Hey, Boo Boo,
especially with
I'm gonna
Spread
move
Eagle
in
as the
here.
house band.
potatoes are in the oven. Just check them.
So it was fun. Yeah, we to answer your question, we played your place. Hey Ray, I'd like mine scrambled with a lot of olive oil, please. So we played your place, loved the Salisbury Theater, and then we did probably another 50 US gigs, and then we went overseas, you know, playing the wedding like Johnny just said, and playing UK and let me see, Scotland, England, Wales,
Nice.
Germany, Belgium.
We were gone for a while.
France, Netherlands. Like we played a lot of places.
Cool.
This year we're going to go. We're going to announce soon. Well, we got the UK tour with Scotland, England, Wales again. A little more extensive this year, and we're going to go to Norway and Sweden, Germany, Belgium,
Wow.
France. We got like 4 big gigs on the books. We got M3. We have Isenheim Festival in France. We have Hard Rock Hell Sleaze in England, and we have next year's Monsters of Rock cruise.
Cool. Very cool.
So yeah, we've been busy. We're not slowing down. We got next year booked up, and we're just going to keep going. I mean, this is our dream, you know. Like we wanted to be playing music all the time, and we were making records and stuff, but we weren't playing music all the time, like on tour constantly, because we didn't have the right situation. Even though a bunch of people knew about us, we were not as busy as we wanted to be. And now we go out almost every weekend and play rock and roll. So we're living our dream. We feel good about that.
Excellent.
That's awesome. So, and I also noticed on your website, you know, obviously this year is the 35th anniversary of the debut album. And so you mentioned the UK tour, and you're going out with Warrior Soul, which is another, sounds like that's going to be a great bill in the UK.
Oh yeah, man. Those, you know, that's some, you got the New York package now, man. You know what I mean? So it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great band, and then they're fun. You know, Corey's has always been a really cool dude, a great rock and roll performer, and to me, he's like a great rock star. So
Sure.
it's great to just go over with them and throw a 1-2 punch, see what happens.
Sure.
I agree. It's getting really good attention, and we met them. We basically met them we rehearsed in the same place in Manhattan in 1990, where we got signed in that rehearsal room. It was a place under a grate in the basement. We literally lifted a metal grate and went down, and it was a little tiny studio where we recorded our first demos and did all our first rehearsals, and also showcased there, believe it or not. So we met them there. They're really nice guys. We've known them a long time. We've done a couple shows with them, not too many, but our paths have crossed. So yeah, we're excited, and we have the New Generation Superstars opening up in the UK, which are kick-ass punk rock band, very good.
Sure.
Yeah, we toured with them last year in the UK, and you know, with Warrior Soul, it's just funny. 6 Degrees of Separation. The first time the only time I ever did Headbangers Ball, they were the other band that was in there before us.
Oh, wow.
So it was, you know, we were like, hey guys, it was pretty funny.
So you guys, we talked last time that you guys were in here, we talked about East Coast street metal, and that's a defining sound for Spread Eagle, and it's a great sound. And you're also talking about, Kevin brought it up, you guys are mentioning your 35th year anniversary. So East Coast street metal's been around a long time. And you guys, when you played here, one of the things I was very impressed with is your authenticity. You know, we talk about it a lot, like how music acts can age over time, and sometimes age very poorly with backing tracks and obvious backing tracks in some cases. And a lot of effects, but you guys came in hard hitting, hard edged. You got what you got, and it was excellent. And so it was great to see that as raw live East Coast street metal. How do you guys keep that up? How do you guys keep up? Because to me, playing music's very physical. Ray, you know that, of course. Singing's a very physical act. How are you able to keep that up over the years, that being that authentic and keeping that raw edge without burning out?
That's a great question. I honestly don't have like just a prepared great answer for something like that. I think as you go, there's a sense of self-awareness with us, and people to watch. I don't like to bullshit anybody. If you can't do it, don't do it. I've always loved organic rock and roll. And there's something really raw and cool to that when you go all the way back to Iggy Pop, that kind of vibe, you know what I mean, in a room. It's a great raw energy. There's nothing like it. So when you start to mask it with tracks or whatever, things get diluted.
Sure.
So how we keep up with it, I don't know, man. I wish there was something I could tell you. Rob's got a great Fountain of Youth thing going on, and I'm just trying to keep up. There's just so much to it. There's there's a desire to do it. I think that desire keeps you hungry, keeps you youthful. So we're not trying to be perfect, but we're always searching for perfection, and the perfect live show and the perfect connection. And that has a lot to do with it. But we just, forward momentum, man.
Right.
You got to believe. You got to believe.
My response is, I played in some different bands, and spread eagle music is honestly, for me, really hard to play because it's fast. Some songs we play even faster than the recordings. It's very riffy. So I have to practice to be able to do this, because it's not like I have to practice to remember the songs. I have to practice to keep my strength, my upper body, because with bass is like, it's a big animal, and you have to hold it and pick it in a way that it resonates, like that the wood and it's all resonating and giving you these big notes, which is a big foundation to the band. So for me to maintain that strength, upper body strength and arm strength, to not embarrass myself, I have to practice, a lot.
Let me just add, the physicality of it is, I think, what you were saying earlier too.
Sure.
You got to get some kind of sleep. Even if you're on the road, you got to find a way to sleep. You got to find a way to eat intelligently. My voice goes through a lot.
Right.
Sometimes we do a lot of gigs in a row, and it can get pretty crazy. But I find when I do 6 gigs in a row, I'm actually more in tune than the second gig.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So the physicality is what we really try to maintain. So you try to maintain your body and your health. I mean, I'm out jogging. What the hell is that about? You know what I mean? It's like I'm trying, because there is a lot of energy to what we do. So you got to just be physically and mentally sort of in the game.
Yeah. In UK, I mean, we did like a dozen gigs in a row without a day off. Ray's voice held up. Like he said, I think his voice got better as that little run went on, and then we had like a day or so off, and then we had more gigs, but I think in a long run, Ray gets stronger. So that's pretty cool.
And I think we also talked about that when we spoke to you last time, 3 years ago, I wasn't as strong as I am now. I've really worked at it. So, I take it all very seriously, but I also like to have a good time, it's just, the guys let me hang around, so it's all great.
We love to have you. And guys, 1 year ago when we saw you last at the Salisbury Theater in Manassas, we've done 70 gigs since then. So sure. I think you're going to see a different band at M3 on May 4th.
I can't imagine how great that's going to be, because again, like I can't appreciate the show that you put on enough. And that's why that led me to the question that I just asked, because it was such a physically, high energy performance, as you were saying, and also physically demanding performance. It was excellent.
Oh, thanks, man. Give ups, kudos to Red Bull. They should sponsor us. I mean, Rick always dying for Red Bull.
So you mentioned obviously that the practicing is key, diet, rest, But you mentioned jogging a little bit. So is, myself, I went through a recent period where I lost a lot of weight, a lot of exercise. Are you guys working on strength training, any of that kind of stuff too? Because getting older is not easy or fun.
Not for sissies, as they say.
Yeah.
Well, with me, I try to do some resistance. Jami's always in shape. Jami's works out. I bring a jump rope with me on the road if I can't run. So I always like to use the jump rope and things like that. But Jami, I know, works out on a steady.
Yeah, I like to work out the gym like every week. So yeah, I like to be in shape. It's good for everything, for your body, for your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Right.
very good for your mind.
Let me just add, back in the day, the rock star mold back in the day was
Right,
skinny and drugged out, and
Right.
you crawl from one side of the stage to the other,
Right.
and some people, the game's changed as you get older, of course. I don't want to be a band where someone says, oh, they look like someone's dads.
Right.
It should be out cutting the lawn or something. Like, we don't want to be those guys, and we're not trying to be something we're not. We're just trying to really just be our true selves. And there's no Rock 101 stuff. There's no, trying to imitate anybody else. We just do our own thing, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So with
I
all
feel
of
like-
this touring, I'm sorry, Rob, you want to go ahead and say something? I'm sorry about that.
Well, I try to eat healthy, but I no longer have time for working out, and that's honestly not an excuse. I really, really miss it, and hopefully in the future, but it's just been too busy to do. So,
Sure.
but I try to compensate with diet.
Sure.
We work out on the stage.
Right. Well, that is definitely true, Jami. That is absolutely 100. I can attest to that because I've witnessed it. You guys, like I said, are a very intense physical band. It's great to watch.
To add to that, and then I'll shut up. It's you want to do just enough so you're not seeming like you're fake or over the top.
Right.
So what's there is what we can muster, and we give what we got, and that's it.
Right. Excellent.
There's no fake to it.
Characters up there, definitely not. The music inspires us to move certain ways because the music is so aggressive and exciting, and that we have to respond.
Sure. So with all of your touring and all of your traveling, because it's extensive, not only of this year, but of the upcoming year, are you doing any writing? Is there anything new coming out from the band that maybe we could, kind of get a hint of?
We're working on it always.
Cool.
We're definitely in process, but we'll be talking about it more next year.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, we're a creative machine, having only 3 records under our belt. Subway to the Stars was a great barometer of where we were and we were in 2020. Now we've got even more creative juices going, I would say. So I think we have a lot to do still. The first album was great, lots of energy. We were just finding our identity with the second record, and we're just finding our identity still. We're still trying to find that thing, that perfect song.
Sure. Excellent. All right. Well, so if you don't mind transitioning a little bit, because we talked about influences a lot with you guys last time, and Ray, this next idea kind of stemmed off of you being here in the studio with Rick. Unfortunately, Rick's not on the call, but when you guys were here, you had a table in front of you, and we just did this segment where it's just Kevin and I, and we were acknowledging music that was put out in 1984. And Ray, you were great. Like, you were picking up stuff, and you were like, I remember this album, and you were talking about albums and albums you like, albums you didn't like so much. And that's something that we kind of go back and forth on a lot, just on the show, just in general. But before I even go to that, like, speaking of new music, 'cause that just leads to another question in my mind, especially you guys have seen changes in music over the years. Do you guys listen, when you listen to music, and this may affect how you produce music also, do you listen to albums, or are you listening more towards singles and maybe some artist shuffles or releases over streaming media, as some people tend to do now? Like, how do you consume music?
Well, me and now I'm a
Now.
Spotify guy, so I'm like a kid. I like my music free,
Uh-huh.
but it's you have access to so many things. I'm a fan of the 50s, 60s, 70s. I like all kind of genres.
Sure.
I don't have a turntable. I would love to have one. They sound cool as hell. Just haven't had the time to really get one.
Uh-huh.
But I listen to everything, old and new. I have specific lists that I listen to in the car that it's my go-to. I don't know how Rob listens to it. What he does.
Uh-huh.
But we also we're a collective, man, collective of experiences and influences. That's how we come together, you know. But I listen to everything, you know, that, you know, within reason.
Sure.
I don't know if I answered the question or not.
I live in a little apartment in New York City. I have 1,000 albums, and
Wow.
I can't listen to them because my apartment's too small. They're in storage, which is, you know, tough to admit, but it's the truth.
Right.
So I'm also like Ray. I listen to things on Spotify when I have time, which is not much. Tommy?
Yeah, actually, in the last years, I'm using a lot Alexa because I have one in the gym also. So yeah, I just ask Alexa, play music and rock music usually, of course.
Right.
And she knows already what kind of music I like. So, but sometimes I want to listen specific albums because maybe they are new albums that from bands I like, or even mostly old albums from the 80s, 70s. So
right.
Depends on the moment, and when I'm working out in the gym, I like to listen music, and when I'm in my home studio, when I'm practicing the guitar, also I put music that I already know and I play over, or backing tracks or things like this.
All right, excellent.
If I'm not playing the guitar, I'm listening to music. So
right.
Let me just say, in my house, we always have music on, whether it's just on the stereo, you know, or in the car. Just it's a constant in our house, you know. It's like you would think I'd be on Netflix all the time, but no, you know. Especially my girl, she plays music all the time. We wake up, it's music. We go to bed, it's music, you know. And I do go into different kicks. I mean, I have a hard time. Sometimes I don't listen to rock and roll for long periods of time. You know, I've been on a Sly Stone kick for like a week and a half right now. And that's all I've been listening to. You know, once I get in something, I'm a Leo. So I just go down a rabbit hole like that.
All right. Well, kind of stemming off of that. So we made this little segment. We're calling it On the Fives. It's 2025. So we went back 5 decades, and we're giving you 2 choices between 2 artists, and we've included albums. So it's kind of like my loaded way into kind of asking how you guys, because I know things have changed. If we're going to start in 1975, and probably more typically, you're either consuming music on the radio, or you're listening to the album, like you were bringing up, Rob, like you would probably have the album. So this is kind of a this or that segment, or would you rather segment, and just kind of seeing where your influences lie, and it acknowledges some music of the past right at the same time, and just seeing where your interests are, because of course everybody's tastes are different. So you can see a slide up there. John has that on the 5s, and he's going to jump to the next one. We're going to jump into 1975 with 2 choices. Led Zeppelin put out Physical Graffiti that year, and Aerosmith put out Toys in the Attic. So do you have a preference between those 2 albums?
Oh, wow. Can I go first?
Absolutely.
That's a tricky one because there's great songs on both albums. Both singers are amazing. You know what I mean? So I've always been a Steven Tyler guy. Yeah. But there was a point in my life where I listened to that album Physical Graffiti every day for like a year, especially when I was a kid. So, you know, I'm going to have to go with that.
Okay. All right.
I love them both, but I'm going to have to go with that Aerosmith album. That's probably in my top 10.
Excellent. You know, Rob, you were the first, because everybody tends to like lean on Zeppelin, and Kevin and I, and of course, Ray, exactly what you're saying. You can't deny either album. They're amazing albums. Both are amazing albums. But we always try to give Aerosmith their due, and it's a tough thing to do against Led Zeppelin. Very obviously.
Listen, let me just say, you know, when it comes to the Aerosmith catalog, I'm a Aerosmith rocks guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Oh yeah.
That might be cause for debate. We'll see.
Interestingly enough, that, you know, Aerosmith, one of their biggest influences was Led Zeppelin. You know, probably Stones and Zeppelin.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting to compare them.
Right. How about you, Jami? How you feel? You got any feelings towards this?
First of all, I was not born when this album all different thing for me. But,
love it. I love it.
I know
damn kids today, bro.
I know about the albums. Of course, they are classics. So I will say, let's say Led Zeppelin, because no one said that. So I will say that because, of course, Led Zeppelin Physical Graffiti is a great album. So
Right. And Jami, I don't know, like, you know, especially being a guitarist, if there was a leaning towards Jimmy Page versus Joe Perry, which again, you're comparing two outstanding guitarists. But I know that obviously Jimmy Page stands out for a lot of guitarists in a lot of ways. So I don't know if that made a difference for you or not.
Yeah, they are both great guitarists, and they made the rock history, of course. And I'm not really a big fan of one of them.
Uh-huh.
So, I will say Jimmy Page. I prefer probably a little bit Jimmy Page,
Sure.
but they are both great guitarists. What else can you say about them?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
the
sure.
history of
I mean,
rock.
yeah, they both were monsters of what, you know, Joe is Joe
Absolutely.
Cool and Jimmy is a great producer, arranger, director, everything, you know.
Right.
Joe
Okay,
Cool is
so
Joe Cool.
when we jump to 1985 is going to be a little less obvious. We didn't go with this because in 1985, we're definitely in the era of glam metal. And we went with maybe I'm just kind of curious because of the selections that are up here, your take towards one of these bands in particular, because one of them had more success than the other. So the two albums that we have here in the glam metal era, we have Dawkins' Under Lock and Key and Kix's Midnight Dynamite. You guys have any thoughts, strong thoughts or feeling towards either of those albums? Or you might not even, have like a deep relationship with them.
I'm a huge fan of the Midnight Dynamite record.
Oh, nice.
Kix, when I was a kid, Kix was the first band that my baby band ever opened up for. And that
Excellent.
was when they were touring on that album, you know, and that song, I think it's the ballad on there, Walking Away or something.
Yes,
Yep.
Walking Away.
Oh my
absolutely.
God, that song is just incredible. That song is just incredible. And his particular vocal style and his dynamic back then was really, you know, it was great. And there's great songs on it. And there's a lot of AC/DC-ish feel on that stuff, man. I'm just a huge fan of that album. I worship that album. That's in my top.
All right,
Yeah.
the boss wants to interject, so you're going to hear Jeff Salisbury. I'm afraid where this is going to go. 'Cause
Yeah,
when he
I want to
wants
know
interject,
if you have
it's
the
usually a
balls,
bomb.
the balls to tell them the story,
Oh,
the walking
gee.
away story.
Oh, yeah, like
Come on, do it.
we were kids in
Sorry,
high school.
we've grown up together, so we have lots of old stories.
And I'm assuming this is where you're going to go because I might be afraid. Maybe I'm telling the wrong story, but
Mary Helen.
yeah. So we were kids in high school. It was my first high school girlfriend, like, dumped me. And I was trying to be all cool about it. We all worked together and we were bus boys at this dinner theater around here. And we were driving back and then the boss here was driving. And they just had the Kix album on, Midnight Dynamite. And they were just playing it, not really knowing that like Walking Away was coming down the pike on the end of the first side. And evidently I got a little teary-eyed in the back as I was getting dumped by my...
This is true. And of course,
and then, like,
16-year-olds are very
And
compassionate.
then they looked up, exactly. And then they looked up and see me. Like, I'm like, I don't even see them like looking at me because I'm like looking out the window, stunned, deer in the headlights. And then, yeah, I've been hearing about it still. Like, it's 2025 and I'm still hearing about it.
I feel you, man. That song cuts deep. That song cuts very deep.
Right?
That they were a great live band. One of the best shows I've ever seen. But like his interaction with the audience, he was very special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Huge fan.
we did a top 10 countdown for this year a couple months back, and so these were the two albums for us that were our favorites from that year, and they were huge musical influences to us. So interesting to get your all's take.
So can I go next?
Absolutely. Can't wait.
All right. So in 1985, my friends and I were spinning both of these albums.
Okay.
And again, as with the last question, it's hard to choose from two great albums.
Uh-huh.
But I'm also going to go with Kix.
Wow. East
big
Coast,
album.
baby. East Coast.
Yeah.
And recently I did an interview and they asked for my 5 top concert experiences.
Yeah.
And one of my top 5 was Kix in either 85 or 86.
Yep.
In Boston.
Mm-hmm.
When they came through, it was like a hurricane. Every
Mhm.
band changed that
Mhm.
night, honestly. Every band changed their stage show. When a local band came through Boston, when a sign band came through Boston, all the local bands would be there to watch. It was a really strong scene. Most places in 85 had a strong rock scene.
Sure.
So if a national came through, we were all there.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, The day after that show, Kix' show, everyone changed their stage shows to make it much more arena-like, just bigger.
Right.
So, but that's a great record. They're both great records, but I'm going to go with
Absolutely.
Kix.
Yeah. Love it. Now, Jami, first question: Were you alive when these albums came?
Actually, 85 is the year I was born. So
All right, there we go.
that's my year.
All right, love it. Do you know either of these albums? Are they familiar, or the artists? Are either artists familiar to you?
I don't know the albums, but of course I know the bands.
Okay.
And I know that Kix are from Egerton, and actually I live in Egerton.
Yes.
They are my hometown band right now.
Yeah, I love it.
Hometown Heroes.
Hometown
I will
And
pick
Whisk
them
is from
just for this
Hagerstown.
reason. I will pick them. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I know they are a band, and I saw them like 2 or 3 years ago here near Egerton,
Uh-huh.
and they were great
Yeah.
energy. Like
And it's a great point when you bring up the energy, Jami. Like you guys, I'm going to bring it back to you guys now. Like maintaining that energy and keeping that high intense physical show, happening, very engaging, and it's amazing to watch. So I love that you picked Kix. All three of you picked Kix because we feel the same way. We always say that about Stand Up Shot Rock Show. It always comes back to Kix.
Yeah,
we make
huge
that joke
Kix fans. So
because they bring those great live shows, just like you guys.
Yeah.
And he always tells that story about the girl that ate the Quaaludes and threw up all over him.
Yeah, that's right. On yeah.
I'm like that guy. I'm like that guy's funny.
All right, we're gonna jump to 1995.
yeah, which was quite a change, right, in music there.
Changing the tone.
The grunge era and the new metal bands were starting to come around. So 1995, we have Alice in Chains. Their self-titled, that was their 4th album, actually.
Yep.
And then White Zombie, Astro Creep 2000.
This is easy for me. It's Alice in Chains.
Okay.
I'm huge. I mean, that band for me just sonically changed the game in a major way. His voice is, I don't even have the adjectives for it, but he was like the Frank Sinatra of rock and roll, man. I mean, he was just smooth. He didn't have to move much either on stage.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just watched him. You couldn't take your eyes off him.
Right.
That record just loaded with great melodies, man, from beginning to end,
Yeah.
I'm just a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
What was the lead-off single from that album?
It's not.
Oh man, Grind. Was it Grind?
Grind. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
I'm looking it up.
I'm definitely going to go with Alice in Chains also.
Yeah, they know how to write.
I mean, I feel the way Ray does. They're, obviously, an amazing band. I mean, we don't need to say what's obvious. I don't think it's as strong as Dirt, but it's a great record, and that single Grind is up there with all their songs. That's definitely league as their best stuff.
Yeah, because Heaven Beside You was also released off of that, but not. Yeah. I don't think that was the first release.
Yeah, no, I just confirmed it. It was Grind. I used the tablet, so there we go.
It
came in handy. Yes.
Amazing.
I mean, they're Cantrell's king of melodies. He's top tier melodies, man.
Sure.
And just the way they blended everything about that record sonically, I'm just into.
Yeah.
I think he's also one of the kings of interesting key changes or chords that maybe aren't as obvious to go to, he's just really creative writer.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also a fan, of Rob Zombie, but I mean, Alice in Chains to me is really not a comparison.
Excellent. And it sounds like, Rob, you're in that camp then too, just to confirm.
Yeah.
Their selection. Yeah. And Jami, how you feeling about these two?
I will go with Alice in Chains too, because they are an amazing band. I don't think that's their best album. Probably Dirt or also the previous album are better, but they are great singer, great guitarist. There is no doubt about that.
Excellent. All right, let's jump to another 10 years up, 2005. So this is going to be interesting to see where this lands because we have very strong opinions between both, actually really one band more than another here in the Salisbury Center, you know, amongst our inner crew here. So we have Nickelback with All the Right Reasons and Wolfmother's Wolfmother.
I don't know the Wolfmother album. I'm sorry to say very well. I think I've only heard like the single. The single was give me the single.
Woman was the big single off this one. You know, the woman. She is
yeah,
woman.
Man. And Nickelback is just, you know, this great songwriting, very great machine, you know. I'm not on that whole like pile on Nickelback all this. Look, I'm a huge they're live, they are heavy as hell.
Right.
I'm a huge Nickelback fan as far as their writing and what they've accomplished, man. I just would because I don't know both albums well. I'm gonna have to say Nickelback on this one.
Sure.
But you know, I just don't know enough. I shouldn't even say it. I should just omit myself from this. If I had to choose one, there's a gun to my head, like, oh, I know Nickelback.
You could go American and Australian because Wolfmother's Australian if you just want to stick with, you know what I mean?
Canadian.
Wolfmother? Oh,
No.
I thought they're. Oh, that's right. That's right. This is even a U.S. There's not even a U.S. choice here. Like, yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Rob. So yeah, Canadian or Australian, you can make the choice there if you want to go down.
Interesting picks, though. I got to give you kudos. Interesting picks. I would have never pulled those out for 2005. Never.
I'm going to say I don't know either of these albums either. But I do know the styles of the two bands, like really produced pop, rock, you want to call it rock, Nickelback, and Wolfmother, like a throwback to 70s kind of riffy, bluesy songwriting. And I'm sure I heard both the singles. That Mother thing sounds a little bit familiar, and I know I had to have heard the Nickelback song because every song they put out is everywhere. But style-wise, I'm going to go with Wolfmother.
And I'm also going to add, it just hit me too with Wolfmother, might trigger another memory. Joker and the Thief was in The Hangover. That was featured a lot in The Hangover. So Joker and the Thief is actually, to me, probably a bigger single now that I think about it, and it is featured in a lot of movies.
All right, so let me add then, because I know I love that song. I didn't know that's them, right?
That is them.
So
let
me switch and take Nickelback off the table because I love that Joker and the Thief song. It's a great riff. Oh my god, what a great song! I didn't know that was them.
Yeah.
You would think I'm in a band, I would know everything, but no.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Luckily,
that's a great song.
Luckily, you didn't take your fingers off the chess piece, right? So you can still change.
Man, what a great! That is a great song. When I was teaching at the School of Rock, the kids played that, and I worked with that song for a little bit. That's how I know that song. I was like, man, what a great song!
Right, and I think like in terms of like reflecting on the music itself, that's why I was asking the question before we even started this: how you consume music. Because there was more of an emphasis, I feel you can remember albums more strongly, almost, I feel like as you go back in time, because there was a greater emphasis on listening to albums, right? Versus this is the introduction of digital music and singles, and streaming hasn't really solidified here at this point, but it's starting to, right? So you tend to remember the singles more.
Yeah, remember you would back in the day, you would when a new Van Halen album came out, you would sit with your friends,
right?
Get whatever was going into your body and you get hyped up and you would just play the whole record. You'd be turned into a party, you know?
Right.
We don't have that anymore.
Right.
I would guess 05 was the download era, right?
Yes, correct. Yep. That's kind of the peak of the Napster, LimeWire, you know, all of that, you know, going on. Jami, you have any thoughts towards either of these bands?
To be honest, I don't know the second band, Wolf or something.
The Wolfmother.
I'm going to send you the song.
Yeah. Watch the Hangover.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I'm curious to hear them. So I know, of course, Nickelback, they very, very famous. So I like some of their songs. So, but I don't know the other bands, so I can't respond on that question.
All right. You're being nice and safe, like in that selection. That's a great way to play it. All right, let's bump to 2015.
So we got Hailstorm, their third album, Into the Wildlife. and Shinedown, Threat to Survival.
Mm-hmm.
I know where my vote is.
I know, yeah.
I am a huge Shinedown fan.
Okay.
I don't know that Hailstorm album that well.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm a fan of both singers. They're both great.
Yeah.
The Shinedown stuff, you know, when I first heard, what was the single off that album?
Oh, I'm trying to think of that too. I do, because it was funny because I was prepared like for Hailstorm because you were saying you didn't know the Hailstorm album that well. Now the thought that popped in my head is like, what was the biggest single off that Hailstorm album? Which to me is Amen. And then you asked the opposite question. So like now my head is in Hailstorm space. I shined. I know. Oh man, what? I don't want to mix up my albums. All right, we got the Gizmos.
Yeah, I wish I could say I could decide between the both. I just don't know both albums that well. I know some of the Shinedown catalog because they're down here and tour all the time. My friend works with them, so I just think that singer's super strong and she's incredible. You know, she can sing anything, but I don't know the whole catalog.
Right.
Maybe somebody else might know more than me.
I'm going to go, I don't know either of those albums, but I'm going to go with Hailstorm because of how well she did. This is kind of unrelated. And sorry for the bad guest. I don't have really a good opinion on those albums.
Mm-hmm.
But she did such a good job with Skid Row that
right.
I'm going to have to pick her bands.
Right.
Her band or whatever she's working on. That was really impressive what I saw her do. Not live, on video.
We were big fans of that too. We were very big fans of that.
Great.
Right, that collaboration.
That good, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it better than the next singer.
Yes, yeah.
I thought she did the best, you know, other than Sebastian, of course.
So I have State of My Head, Ray, as I just looked up as the lead single off of that album, off of Threat to Survival.
Okay. No, I really don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny with me musically, just going back to how we consume music, raising my boy, I found that he was just making a new playlist every day, and he turned me up to bands and music I've never even heard of before. And sometimes I'll just go through my Spotify and something will come to my ear that I've never heard of before, but it's new, you know, and will blow my mind. So there's just so much. There's so much good music out there. Even now, something will creep through of a million songs being released every second of every day. Something will get through, you know. And it's just
a little small factoid that we learned about Lzzy Hale, just to kind of change directions back that way, is that Steve Whiteman from Kix is her vocal coach.
I didn't know that.
There you go.
Yeah. We Kevin, you were at a local show here.
Yep.
It was when Hailstorm, I believe, were opening for Alice Cooper, right?
Yep.
And you just happened to be sitting behind Steve Whiteman, who was specifically there to see, you know, his coaching student, Lzzy Hale, perform that day.
Got to have a very brief conversation with him, and he mentioned that he was here specifically because he worked with her as her vocal coach, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Damn good job.
Yeah, I liked her vocal dynamics. You know, her ability to get into change the head voicing and go those cool little qua scream notes. You know, are pretty cool, man. You know, she's got great dynamics.
Excellent. Jami, you have any preferences here? Anything familiar?
Yeah, I know both the bands, and I will. I don't know exactly these albums, but I like. I think I prefer Shinedown.
Okay.
This case.
Yeah. Another great.
See, the younger generation knows, man. Younger generation knows.
All right, we're going to jump to this year. Now, everything's not been released for this year, so these are just two that just kind of popped right out of the gate. Again, I'm not sure if you're familiar with either artist, but we'll just throw them out there. Dirty Honey released a live compilation, which is Mayhem and Revelry, and Dorothy just released The Way. So really two emerging artists, I think, what we went with with 2025.
I like them both, man. She's a great singer.
Absolutely.
And we were in LA. Somebody turned me on to her music out there. Now she seems to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Now Dirty Honey, you know, they got that cool retro thing coming up. I've seen videos of them.
Yeah.
That's hard for me to decide. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Dorothy.
Excellent. Yeah.
But I also love that retro thing. So, you know.
Yeah.
You need to put Rival Sons up there or something like that. That's my
So,
jam.
They may not have been on the fives. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like we were limiting ourselves to the year.
Yeah, but we've had a number of conversations about, people, not to try and throw people under the bus or anything, but, like Gene Simmons and others are saying rock is dead. And we're like, no, it's not. And there's great new music. There's great bands like Spread Eagle that's still touring, creating music. But specifically, we talked about Rival Sons and Dirty Honey and Dorothy.
Right.
Pretty Reckless. There's a lot of great new rock bands and that are out. And
Sure. Yeah, and Dirty Honey was on Jimmy Kimmel last night. So
I like them a lot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna as far as what I know their music more than hers, so I'm gonna say Dirty Honey.
Yeah. All right.
They're cool.
Either Rob or Jami, you guys got any thoughts towards either of these bands or albums?
Well, like the Wolf Mother Nickelback comparison, they're similar styles, like a modern rock that's very poppy,
right?
With her music, which I don't know a lot about, but I have heard a single or two, versus a blues rock kind of, a little more of a throwback kind of sound. I'm gonna always go with the throwback kind of sound. I'm not a big pop guy.
Gotcha. Excellent. Jami?
To be honest, I don't know these two bands, so I can't say about them.
I tell you what, I'll say this, Jami, they would be good with you guys at the M3 Rock Fest.
There you go. It's funny that somebody called us the new guys. That cracks me up. I like being the new guys.
Absolutely.
Well, certainly we'll be turning some heads for sure at M3. I can guarantee that. They're not familiar with Spread Eagle, so it's going to be a great day.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been interesting, sort of bringing it back. You're just doing what we do, trying to do it everywhere we can. I do enjoy the vibe of people that have never seen us before, because it happens a lot. And they're like, we never heard of you guys, and now we're going to check you guys out. But it's cool to watch that kind of work on people. It's neat.
So leading up to M3, I noticed you got some dates. Anything you guys want to promo? I know you're doing some shows in Florida and kind of coming up from the south up to this area.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now, but anyone, if they know, they could talk about it, but I'm going to pull up the list. We have Lake Worth, Sarasota, and Sanford, Florida in April. We got a warm-up show. Yeah, thanks. And we have a warm-up show in Manhattan in New York before the M3 Fest, and then we go to Ohio, Portsmouth, Dresden, and then Pittsburgh, PA. Then we have.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
that's weird.
That is
weird. No more fucking around.
Everybody has
It's
confused.
Wild Style Radio.
Somebody
No
was
more
fucking around.
around.
Somebody was fucking around.
That voice is great, man. Fucking around. Sunday. Yeah, we got gigs coming up before we do the brunch show, man.
And after that, we have Long Island, Riverhead, Suffolk Theater, Dingbats in Clifton. Then we're going out to Minnesota, Maplewood, and Sioux Falls. Then we're going to announce some more East Coast stuff. Probably announce it right after M3.
And we're going to, hound you to come back here to Manassas, whenever you can fit that in that busy schedule, because we'd love to see you back here again too.
We always have time for you guys. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Awesome.
All right. So any other like information or surprises or twists or bends specifically on the M3 show? Because we're excited. I know we're going to definitely see you there. I know we're going to see great things there. Anything else to add that we might have missed about that M3 show?
I'm just, I'm just tickled to death that they let us, have some stage time to do our thing there and get into the mix. We've worked really hard, these past couple of years to get, to be like, hey, we're here. Let's, let us into the party. So hopefully we'll get there, and it'll be, I'm sure we'll have a great time. We're just going to be ourselves. That's all we can do, and if people just experience what we do and our vibe, hopefully that they'll catch on and we'll be able to do more gigs like that. So
Yeah.
we're just going to have a good time, and hopefully everybody has a good time with us.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're gonna have a good time. It's a great shed to play.
Yeah.
And thanks to Eric Baker for having us, and Robert DeBold for pushing for us. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's a great gig. It's an important gig.
And
Excellent.
as far as twists, man, it's either I'm gonna wear a party dress or I'm not. We'll see what happens.
Well, in my
The big
last
isn't that the
twist-
big thing, man? Everybody's transitioning. I'm just gonna, hey man, you never know what's gonna happen.
Right? In my last twist, I'm going to get you guys. I have you guys here because it's just going to add to the specialness of the occasion. Kevin just became a grandfather a couple days ago, so I want to close out the segment saying congratulations, Kevin.
Awesome.
Pop Kevin
That's
over there.
awesome.
I know. First time, first one.
Yes, thank you very much. And I don't know if John has access to the photo, but we got a little.
Yeah, we got to get you guys some stand up and shout rock show swag because Kevin's grandkid has some stand up and shout rock show swag. Do you have the picture,
yeah, man.
John?
I'll get it up here in a minute, but it's going to take
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Very
You
happy
get to be the cool
a pop.
granddad.
Yes. Hopefully not the old granddad.
It'll be
but,
our youngest stand up and shout rock show listener.
It will be.
Officially. Like if he is listening today, Cal is his name. If Cal is listening
baby
today,
Cal.
that will break the record for the youngest stand up and shout rock show listener.
Most certainly. It'll change our demographic quite a bit.
Spread Eagle baby T form or something.
That changes your algorithm.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Everybody out.
In a
What
good
kid's
way.
got a Spread Eagle shirt on? What is that?
Well, thank you very much. And we're super stoked. We're looking forward to catching you guys at M3.
Yeah, we're going to see you in a couple
and
weeks.
looking forward to a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's have some fun, shall we?
There it is.
There he is.
There's Cal in the swag.
Baby Cal.
Oh, wow.
Almost kind of
awesome.
even firing the horns a little bit.
Yeah, he almost is.
It's like
Yeah, he's got it wrong. I think he did this though. But hold on. Look, you've only had a few days to practice.
Yeah.
Need one more,
Right.
All that's missing are the baby shades. Got to get him baby shades.
Yeah.
We'll get him there.
He'd be like, yeah, what's up?
Awesome.
Thank you, Stand Up and Shout. We appreciate being here. We'd love to talk for a couple minutes after you're done recording, if possible, just to catch
Yeah,
up.
sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, we appreciate the support. We love being here.
Excellent.
Anytime. Happy to have you guys be part of the show. And like I said, looking forward to catching you in a couple weeks. And with that, I think we'll wrap it up, right?
You got it, Grandpa.
All right. See ya.
Goodbye, y'all.